going on, everyone, and welcome to a Popcorn Heroes review of Soul, a Pixar movie on Disney Plus. What's going on, guys?
Howdy doodly.
With me, as always, is Pedro.
Hello.
What's up? And God's Gift, Orlando.
Hello.
What's happening, man? So, gents, today we're talking about Soul, a movie that was supposed to hit theaters, but did not because of Rona.
Yes, sir.
And now, Disney was so kind enough to release it for free on Disney Plus in the best of holidays, Christmas. God bless the Mouse House.
Yeah.
Praise be. Praise be.
Praise be to Disney Plus.
So how we usually do our reviews, we do a small premise and then we give you our quick thoughts and 1 out of 5 rating. But before we get to that, Pedro, what is the premise?
Okay. So the premise is it follows Joe, a middle school music teacher who has dreams of becoming a jazz musician. And lo and behold, he actually gets that call. His dreams come true. He's ready to do it. And then he dies. And then he wakes up in the afterlife and he's like, what the fuck? I need to get back. And that's the gist of the movie.
Damn, Pedro, I feel like I just saw the movie, man. Beautiful premise, man. Beautiful premise.
You're
As
welcome.
Usual. As usual. Gentlemen, Orlando, calling you. What is your rating and your small thoughts? Spoiler free, of course. There's no spoilers at the beginning. After this, we'll get into it. Orlando, what is your rating and your small thoughts about Pixar Soul?
So I give it a 3. I liked 3.5. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was actually pretty good story, especially I think it hit in the right moment with the pandemic and everything. So I think a lot of people can relate of what the message is. And overall, I think this movie has like a lot of heart. And it's funny because the payoff is at the final end, but I think once you get to the end, you realize how like beautiful the movie is. But other than that, like in terms of like animation, I thought it looked great. I just didn't think it was that funny, and I know I'm not looking for it to be a comedy, but normally, like, you know, these Pixar movies or animated movies tend to, like, you know, be extremely funny. So this movie, I didn't find it that funny. I found the characters to be very charming, though. I think they had pretty good like chemistry, especially of how different they are, how they view certain things. So overall, yeah, I just think it's a great movie. I think it's definitely a movie that I think if I was a kid, I wouldn't like it though. It's very like the themes could be kind of adult, and not like in a X-rated way, just a more of like a philosophical mindset that I don't think kids would appreciate than adults do. So this movie kind of hits home, I think, for like most older people, and I think kids would be like more not really seeing the value of what the story has to offer. But overall, I think the movie's great. I think the animation's great. I think the characters have great chemistry. I think the message behind it is very important, especially during these times. I just think that it does not, in terms of humor and kid appeal, I think it lacks in that department. But overall, yeah, great movie.
I highly disagree with you, Orlando. Not in the sense of like the rating. I give it a 3.5 too. Like, I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's Pixar's best, but it is a good movie. But I highly disagree with you in the sense of I watch Pixar for comedy. I don't watch Pixar for comedy. I watch Pixar for emotions, and that's what Pixar is all about. Is trying to give you some type of feeling and emotion, and it tries to, go at you to feel something about what's happening in the story. And in that manner, this movie didn't really get me in the feelings. I didn't feel an emotional connection to what was happening in the story. But doesn't mean the movie was bad. No, it was a good movie. I just every Pixar movie has this emotional hook on it, like, or an emotional moment that makes you feel some type of way. And I don't think this movie had that for me in that sense. Like every other one's had them. Like, in Inside Out, when Bing Bong died, that was fucking super sad.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I didn't watch Inside Out, and Pedro, he told me to watch it, so I was thinking about watching it, but now what do I do?
Nothing. You don't do anything because you haven't seen it. That movie came out like 5 years ago, man. You're not gonna watch it anyways. Then with Toy Story, Toy Story 3 had that emotional part, when their toys were going down, they were about to die. And you guys seen Cars 3?
Yes. No.
Okay.
Toy Story 4. Spoiler.
Toy Story 4. You guys seen Toy Story 4?
Yes. Of course, we reviewed it.
All right, just making sure, because apparently Orlando didn't see Inside Out. So that moment, when they say bye to each other, that was pretty emotional.
Yeah. The final goodbye.
So all Pixar's movies have like this emotional part in it that makes you feel something, and I don't think this one had it. But what I did really enjoy about the movie was the jazz. Man, the jazz was just it was great, man. The way the music was fascinating in this movie. I really, really enjoyed the music. The characters were cool. Yeah, it was a good movie. I mean, like Orlando pretty much said a lot of things I was gonna say. The animation was, flawless per usual. But it's definitely not. I don't think it's a kids movie. I absolutely do not think it's a kids movie. Like Orlando said, there's a lot of themes that make you think too much, and I don't think kids have the. I wouldn't say they have the capacity, but they just don't have the understanding of those themes, at a young age. My kid saw it, and I mean, he liked it. I don't know why he liked it. They didn't really ask him. I just, he's like, oh, it was nice. And I was just like, oh, okay.
You should give him a kid's review. He'll just be like, I like the part where there was the fart joke, and like.
I'm gonna have to make him watch it again and then probably review it with him, because so he could be fresh in his head. But yeah, other than that, it was a good movie. I just don't think it's Pixar's best.
All right. So I give it a 4 out of 5. I really liked it. But here's the thing. I do agree with you guys. It's not Pixar's best. It's not. But even not Pixar's best is still really good.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it's better than DreamWorks.
Honestly, the only Pixar movies that I could think of that I thought were decent, because I don't think any of them are really bad per se, except maybe Cars 2.
Cars 2.
But yeah. But like
The Good
Brave,
Dinosaur.
For me, Ratatouille, A Bug's Life, like they're not bad movies, none of those. But when you put them on the scale of like greatness, where you get into like Toy Story or Incredibles, or to me Inside Out, WALL-E, like Up, like those are like really high up there for me. So obviously it's not at the top, but it's definitely in like the middle, and the middle is still fucking great. So that's why I still give it a 4. Now I do agree with both of you saying this is definitely not a kids movie, 100% not a kids movie. But like Armando said, we don't really go to Pixar to get your kids movie. You watch DreamWorks for that shit. You don't watch Pixar for that. For Pixar, you get your emotion. You get your emotion. And yeah, I didn't get the tear jerking scene here either, but I did. The movie did keep me thinking at the end. Like when the movie was over, I was still thinking about it. Like the themes, the fact that it's about midlife crisis and purpose in life, that doesn't really hit kids, because kids don't think about that shit. But it hits us. It hit me, because like that's stuff that's going on in my head. So it what's the word I'm looking for? It stayed with me after the movie. Not necessarily made me cry, but it made me go like, what is this movie trying to tell me? You know, how do I live differently now that I learned this lesson? So that to me makes it a really fucking good movie. Like I could watch this one again and still enjoy it. And getting into the more technical parts of the movie, the music I thought was really good. You had your jazz moments that were fantastic, but you also had the score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who did the music for like Social Network, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. They have this really cool electronic, eerie score that comes out in all like the weird metaphysical parts of the movie, and I thought it just fit fucking perfectly. There's just this weird feel for it that I don't even know how to describe it. It just sounded really good. Like it made sense with their version of the afterlife, because I don't know, it just felt, yeah, I don't even know how to describe it, but it just felt right. So, but yeah, the performances were great. I was actually very impressed with Jamie Foxx's voice work. I love them. I think he should do more voice work, actually. The one that I didn't even realize it was her was Tina Fey, but she still did pretty good.
I did not know it was her.
I did not know it was her till the end. I was like, interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So definitely 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see what Pixar has post. What's this guy that got fired? Because Pete Docter took over him.
Oh, Lasseter.
Lasseter. I'm excited to see what post Lasseter Pixar is, and if this is what we're getting, then I think it's a step in the right direction. Because we were raised with Pixar in the beginning, so it's just nice to have a movie for us instead of just for the kids. So, yeah, good stuff.
So, before we move on to spoilers, would you guys recommend this movie?
Yeah, I think so. Overall, I think as a family film, I think 100%. Because even if your kids might not relate to it or like it, there's something there for you. And there's enough, I think, here of charm for kids to just watch. They might not fully grasp the concept that it's trying, or the message that it's trying to relay, but I feel like there's enough here with some of the silliness that goes on in the movie. There's enough there to entertain kids. So I feel like it is. I think this is probably like a movie that has a very broad appeal for adults and kids. I just think for adults, it hits home. For kids, I feel like they'll think back about all the goofy parts that the movie had to offer.
I agree. I do recommend this. You know, most Pixar movies, I always say you guys should definitely watch it. But I do agree it's more of a family film, like a whole family together, rather than just, hey, let me put this on for only the kids in the corner. No, I don't think it's that type of movie. It's like everyone sit together and we all, enjoy it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll recommend it too. It's definitely the most adult Pixar movie there is. And
I think so.
The message will be you will understand it more, and it will hit you more if you're an adult. And like you guys said, if you're a kid, you're just gonna watch it because it looks nice, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, definitely watch it, especially if you have Disney Plus. Like, what else there is to watch on Disney Plus? He has new content. You for sure might as well watch it. But let's get to it, gents. Let's get into the spoilers of it all. Let's get down and dirty and discuss this movie and its themes. And if you haven't seen this movie, come back and check out our thoughts. And if you don't care, just keep on listening. And if you did, listen too. Now, spoilers ahead. Spoilers
ahead.
There is spoilers.
Cool.
Ahead. Spoilers.
All right. So, first things first, I actually really liked the way they killed him off. I thought it was such a funny way because he's on the phone, he's excited, and there's so much crazy shit that can kill you happening, and he's dodging him. Exactly, he's dodging it. I don't remember the specifics, but there were things where it's just like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, and then when you have your guard down, you're like, ah, he made it, and then it's a manhole that kills him. The most embarrassing thing ever. But it was just such like a night. Like, it was so ironic that he did that. I just thought that was such a great, almost like a dark comedy way of killing him off, where it's like, ah, you fucks. But it's so funny. I just couldn't help thinking like, man, there's some dark sense of humor when they were coming up with it. Like, oh, wouldn't it be great if he dodges all the obvious shit and gets killed with the dumbest shit? So
I feel there's a plot hole there.
What do you think?
Well, because if he fell through the manhole and the manhole killed him, but yet he wakes up a few hours later, shouldn't he have like a broken leg, broken bones, broken something? If the manhole killed him, shouldn't his body be affected by the manhole?
Hear me out. What if he drowned in sewer water? I don't know. You're right. But I guess there's only so far that Pixar can go. They're not gonna. I guess they could have, but they chose not to put him in a body cast.
I agree with that statement. He drowned in sewer water.
Yeah, he just drowned.
I agree. He just drowned. Yeah, that's the best way to explain it.
You know, I think I would have believed that if I would have seen like those animation splashes of water going up.
Brown water.
Just
that
you know, you like a like that. I think I would have believed that drowning part. But how much water is in the New York sewers? You know.
But supposedly you don't need a lot to drown. Like, you just need like a cup of water or something. Like, you don't need that much water to drown on water. So it's possible. Like, it's possible. Like, maybe he had knocked out unconscious, right? And then
he was in a coma. So.
And then he drowned. Or, so it's possible.
The other thing is it's a kids movie, and they don't want to, like, I don't know, impale him and break his legs, because they have that whole second act that they need to get going.
Yeah, they do.
Right, yeah. So one of the things, like I was saying, like, I guess for the payoff, it's just like, because I think in some Pixar movies, it's obvious, like, what they're trying to tell you and what the message is. Like, even in, like, Toy Story 4, you know that they have to basically say their goodbyes. Or in Toy Story 3, where, like, they're leaving Andy and they have to get used to, like, they're going, they're trying to get back to him. Like, you gotta let go. Like Toy Story 3 is like a let go, like, you need to move on kind of movie. And Toy Story 4 is the same if you think about it in terms of the story, but
it kind of is, but it's also about purpose in life as well. So
right, but in general, the message is kind of obvious, like in those kind of movies, and in this one it was kind of hard to actually pinpoint the message before they said it, So I think that's why there's not that emotional punch. As opposed to other movies where like in Toy Story 3, you're just like, all right, guys, you guys gotta move on. And then, like, finally, like, even the scene when they're in the furnace and they're about to burn and they don't want to let go of each other. It's like a symbolism, like, we gotta, like, move on and, like, burn, like, start over,
Mm-hmm.
And even, like, in Up, where, like, he's like, he goes to this place because his wife tells him, like, that, start an adventure and stuff like that. Like, so you see the message is clear, like, in all at least the movies I'm referencing. So it was very hard to grasp what the movie was trying to tell me until the end, because you want him to go to the show, you want him to live and to, like, play the concert, because that's what he wants out of life. That's what he's been longing for his whole life.
Yeah.
So, like, you the message of, like, your life was worth living, but regardless of what you did, was so, like, oh shit. It was kind of like it's like you're doing, like, long division, you forgot to drop the zero or some shit. Like, oh, I didn't see it here.
Yeah, you know, for me, it wasn't that surprising. It's a slow build up to it because it's a slow build up because you're seeing how she lives in his shoes. And with each example, he'll say, "Oh no, you got to do this." And then she'll do something totally different, something innocent. And then it all works out. And then you're like, Where it really hit home for me was the whole barbershop, which was such a great scene because it's like, oh, this guy's awesome. He'll get you a nice cut. I always talk jazz music with him. And then all of a sudden she just doesn't. She doesn't listen to him. She doesn't like do anything he's saying. And she starts like talking about all kinds of shit, asking questions. And then just like everyone kind of going like, oh shit. And then it was her talking about how she's lost in life. And then everyone's jumping in like, yeah, that's right. Preach, It just felt so like, yeah, it was just very, what's the word? Relatable. That it's like, no one's got anything figured out. So I kind of took that already. I'm like, oh, the movie's going to be, no one knows what they're doing. You just fucking go with it. And it all falls into place. Like, of course, the movie was a little more into enjoy the little things, but that was also a part of it as well. It's like, don't get scared. No one else knows what's going on. So that barbershop was where it really started all coming together for me. Where I'm like, I get what's happening here. Just enjoy everything around you. Ask other people how they're doing. That's why they had such a good conversation with the barber. It's like, hey, I'm glad you asked about me. And we didn't talk about jazz music like we always do. It was just a cool little like, oh yeah, I've been so stuck in my own shit that I didn't realize everything else around me. So that to me is the moment where it opened my eyes to the movie.
And you also had that everybody was like, oh, the spark, right? And she's like, oh, your spark was to be a barber. And he's like, no, man, I didn't want to be a barber. Like,
you're right.
I wanted to do something else, And so the whole movie you spent thinking of what's the spark, what's gonna set her off. Everyone has a spark because that's what the movie was trying to imply. Like, everyone has a purpose in life, but in reality, the purpose is just to live, right, and enjoy life, and enjoy the little things. So the whole thing of how Joe, all he focused on was jazz, and like that's my purpose in life is just jazz. When in reality it wasn't that way, and he like she was discovering in other people like they wanted to do something, this one thing, but they didn't end up doing those one thing, and life took him in another direction, but they just found the joy in that new direction they were going on, which was another interesting aspect of this whole thing. I found it to be a very like a interesting message of life takes its turns, and you just have to find the joy in those turns.
Right. I mean, I think through 22, the Soul 22, I think you definitely, it does hammer in that message of like what, because with her being so naive and so new to everything, you do see her embracing all of it, like everything that he never embraced, whether it be like, I think a butterfly lands on her, in his body.
It was the leaf as well, the
leaf.
The dancing leaf.
Right,
that was the big one.
And she takes it all in. The fact that she eating New York pizza, and that's like, oh my god, this is like the best thing ever. It's like one of those things where like he never appreciated it because it's like you were so stuck in other things that like her. It's kind of like seeing like a baby basically like try like new food and they like light up or whatever. Like it's similar to that way,
but in your body, so it's bizarre. You're just like,
it's bizarre, yeah.
Huh.
Look at me enjoy these things.
I'm like, huh. I will say,
I found it.
I will say, plot wise, I don't know if you got these vibes, but where I was really enjoying the first act, I should say, and then I was like, oh, but this is very similar to Inside Out. And then all of a sudden it does that flip where he flips bodies with her for the cat, and immediately I was like, oh god, it's one of these fucking movies. And I was already like, man, this movie's gonna suck now, because I was already thinking like Brave, Brother Bear, like all those where they always did the whole, oh, walk a mile in my shoes type shit. But it didn't go that way. It went the way that we just talked about, where you get to see it, you get to see your body reacting differently, and you're just like, oh, okay. So it was a nice twist on something that could have been generic, gladly it wasn't. So
Did you guys enjoy that switch?
I did eventually, but like I said, I was spooked the first time. I was like, oh god, but then I was like,
Agreed.
oh, okay.
Because I enjoyed it eventually. Like I said, like I said, eventually, because I felt like it was too. That's the part where I'm like, kids would enjoy this. The fact that like he's like stumbling around, and then the guy's a cat now, and you know stuff like that. I think kids would like find that funny, you know. But so I as an adult found that like annoying, just because I was just like, okay, whatever. But it's like Pedro said, like seeing 22 live her life. I mean, not her. I mean, whatever. No, whatever. Seeing 22
Is her
live
Their life.
Yeah, I was like, she's not really a woman. Whatever. Like, she is the voice of a girl. Whatever. Seeing 22 live their life in his body makes it more compelling, especially the part where like he talks to like his mom.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. But that was him talking though, right? In that moment.
That was 22 talking for him.
Right.
Because of him. But he was telling her what to say.
He was telling her, he's like, hey, I'm going to meow it and you fucking repeat it. That's what it was.
Right, yeah. But I think at the end of the day, like, I don't think he would have gotten there if it wasn't for her. Because I think
sure.
for him, whatever. If it wasn't for them, I don't think he would have gotten there, because seeing 22 be so bold in his body, I think allowed him to be like, oh shit, I can do things differently than what I normally do. So I don't think you get that conversation with his mom without every other interaction 22 had.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that is his last interaction, anyways. In that
right.
day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a touching moment. When he just finally tells his mom like, "Hey, like, this is how I feel," and then she tells him how she feels, and I think that was a very touching moment where that honesty actually helped their relationship, not destroyed it like people think could happen when you're honest with your parents, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we've all been there, especially as like young adults growing up and then dealing with parents and always trying to make them proud. I think a lot of kids to adults have definitely been there, especially when you're a grown person and your parents still see you as a kid and such. I just think there's a lot of moments of just like in this movie that reflect on, I think, that hit home to for a lot of people, and a lot of people can relate to that. That being an adult, trying to live your life, but then your parents disagree. Stuck at a job that you might not find fulfilling, but and you're still chasing that dream. So yeah, I think a lot of the events and how the story unfolded, I feel like it hits a home for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that
oh, you first.
One of the things that I found interesting that I thought they were gonna bring up, I'm glad they didn't, is like it's weird because they where they were basically like in the Hall of Fame, or like his
best
moments. The best moments with like the best of moments of his life. And clearly he dated someone. And normally these kind of movies, or just movies in general, bring up like a love interest. Like you would think, oh, he's gonna go see her, or he's gonna like realize that like life is worth living, so he has to like make things right with whoever this person was that he had a relationship with.
Yeah,
I'm kind of glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Just because it was like such a trope,
Yeah,
but
I agree. It also would have took away from the message, because the message is enjoy the little things, not find your love and your life will be perfect. Like, nah, it ain't nothing about that. So yeah. I do agree with you.
Yeah. And I did like that. I did like that they mentioned that, like, yeah, he and who knows, maybe the great catalyst for that relationship not working out was because he was so caught up in his dream. We don't know that, but I think that was just a little good like drop of information of like, oh, he has had love before, and I think that's interesting to know.
It was nice that they just hinted at it, that they didn't really go into it. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That would definitely distract it from the rest of the movie. Because then you would have to introduce her, the character, why they broke up,
Yeah.
all this other stuff.
What did you do, quote unquote, wrong? Or it's a whole other thing. We've seen that movie already, so I'm glad.
Exactly.
Another interesting question that this movie brought up that I really liked, because at the end they didn't even answer it, was everything that he's wanted in this life was to be a jazz musician, and he finally got his moment, and then he was like, yes, that's awesome, but that's it. And it's like, so sometimes the thrill of the chase is better than actually getting it. And then it kind of leaves you, which I absolutely love that about the ending, it left it open to, does he stay a teacher? Does he become a jazz musician? You don't know. He has that choice between the two. And there's pros and cons to both. So it just leaves that up to you. And because that's also not the message of the movie, because the message of the movie is just to live, not whether one decision is better or one's worse. So just to hammer that in, I love the fact that they left it open. So, you choose your own ending.
Do you think they were alluding more to the fulfillment of being a teacher and teaching others jazz? And seeing them grow within it.
Yeah, but I also think it depends on how the person, who the viewer is, would give a different ending. But I've always been more towards, I saw it more as what's the word? In my mind, I was thinking that he was going to continue to be a teacher, and then maybe 22 reincarnates into a child, and then the child is in his class. That's what I was thinking before the ending was coming up. But I'm also glad they didn't do that, because the whole point was 22 is going to do whatever the fuck they want. So not, you got to be into music just because I taught you. But I kind of thought they were going to go that route. I'm glad they didn't. So in my ending, it would be for him to continue to be a teacher and teach kids. But honestly, that's just me projecting that ending. It could really be anything.
Yeah, that's true. What did you think, Orlando? What did you take it as in that moment? You feel like he was gonna potentially lean towards jazz or the fulfillment of teaching others?
I agree that, like Pedro says, it's really up to his interpretation. But I know he has a different mindset of how he views life at the end of the movie, but just seeing him play live and seeing him play in the classroom and realizing that regardless, there is joy in teaching students, even if it's just one who enjoys it. In general, you're in a room of people who don't enjoy it. So I think at the end of the day, he would get more fulfillment out of being in a room with people who enjoy playing jazz, with an audience who enjoys listening to jazz. He's losing out of that mentorship aspect, which what the movie was what the movie had him do. But it didn't really seem like he enjoyed that aspect anyway. So even at the end where he finally liked 22 and wanted to do right by them, it just didn't seem like he really enjoyed being a mentor regardless. So even when his student passes by the apartment, he wants to get the student out of there and just move on. And so it just doesn't seem like he really cares about that in general. He could care now, with a different aspect on life, but I think he has a better chance of more happiness just doing the jazz route. You might be bored of it, but at least you're surrounded by like-minded people who enjoy what you do. Every once in a while, you might be able to change it up. There's, I said, Pedro said, there's pros and cons, because if in the classroom, you gotta, I don't think you get that fulfillment there. Because if you're gonna teach people and then they're not interested, you put all your energy into that one person that's interested. So I feel like it's the kind of defeating in a way, because then you're constantly looking for that spark. No pun intended.
Yeah. I agree with that.
But I also think that's the point.
Yeah. I feel like the movie was leaning more towards the fulfillment of of engaging others to love something. So I feel like the movie was telling me more leaning towards the teaching aspect.
I agree with you, like, but I just don't think that him as a character. I think that the message is on point, but him as a character, I don't think he doesn't seem like he really got much out of it. Like it was like a eureka moment at the end. Like, oh, wait a minute, no, you know what? You need to live. I don't need to live. I already lived. But even in that aspect, it was more like of him appreciating his life, and we were like, you know what? You need a chance at this. So let me give sorry. So let me give you that moment of living. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he ever really enjoyed the mentorship part of the movie.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. So what did you guys think about the characters in the movie? You know, we started off with the Jerrys and the Terrys or whatever they're called. What do you guys think about, you know, that whole aspect of personalities are given, not chosen? What did you guys think of that?
I loved how nonchalant and they didn't give a fuck about it, where they were like, I forgot what it was, but it was essentially one of the negative personality traits, and she was just like, hey, why don't you go in there? And you too, and you too. And like, why do you put so many in there? Like, I don't know. It was such a funny roll the dice thing.
Was it the narcissistic one? I think it was.
Yeah, it was something about that. It was just something that obviously too much of it was self-destructive. And again, that's more of the dark comedy part of it that we would get. Like a kid that would have gone right over their heads, but for us, we're like, we know all those assholes. That's why they're there, because of these fucking Jerrys. But I just liked it. It was just a nice. It was almost cynical in a way to see that, you know. In a way, it kind of showed that we're born that way and there's no changing. But clearly, you see from Joe's arc that like there is changing. So, but it was just I just thought it was a nice playful way to do it, similar to Inside Out, but still different enough to work. Just felt more professional, more by the book.
Yeah. And
also, I don't give a fuck. Just, you know, here you go.
So he's not in purgatory. So I guess he's like before conception.
It's actual, right. In this movie, the afterlife is, hey, I'm out there, and then you're gonna get put back in. I can't remember. Did the movie play with the idea of reincarnating, or that was it?
No. What essentially was is that you're on the conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt just takes you to whatever it was.
You're right. Whatever it was, you didn't get that far. So
yeah. So some people become mentors of other souls. I mean, souls that need to get ready for life. And then once you make them get their spark, you're gone to the afterlife also.
That's right. That's
the gist of it.
So, yeah, I guess it is kind of a purgatory. It's kind of like a factory room for...
It seems like purgatory, but also like before conception. Because like, it seems like this is where souls are made. Yeah. And where... a personality, or a being essentially is made. Like what makes them is made here.
Yeah. Well, you're right, because purgatory technically is the stairway going there. He fell off the stairway and went elsewhere, and that's where you're saying the beginning part, where a soul is created, personalities, everything is created. Yeah.
So, do you guys think? Because I was reading a theory that when they go into Earth, the time is not linear at that time, because she says that there's no time where they are. Like time is non-existent. I mean, that's what 22 says. So that makes you kind of think that Earth, when they're falling into Earth, they're not really falling into modern times. They could fall.
They're not falling
anywhere.
Into 2020. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they could fall anywhere in the time period of timeline. It could be the past, the present, or the future. They're falling into.
That's an interesting. That kind of brings up a lot of weird shit now that you mention that, because the mentors that are training 22 are all figures that we know that already, you know, what you had Gandhi, Lincoln, like all of that, right? Yeah. And they all lost their cool. But your argument is saying, what if hypothetically 22 becomes Socrates? Because there's no fucking time. But Socrates was getting trained by Gandhi, which is like a whole other thing. Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting way to look at it. I didn't think of it that way, but I guess it's possible. Yeah. But I definitely didn't take it that way.
There's some theories people were throwing out that, you know, since there was no time where they were, that essentially there could be falling into any time period.
Right. That's not bad.
I was like, that's an interesting idea they were proposing.
Yeah, I could see that. I did like, what the fuck, the Terrys and the Jerrys. I forgot which one was which, but I did love this dude from IT Crowd was in there. Even the counter, and just visually the way they looked, especially with I can't remember his name right now, but the one that does the counting, when he was going into the real world and he was kind of hiding in and the lines are stretching out, visually that was so fucking cool. And then of course you had that sinister score that was playing in the background, and I was just like, man, this is so good. Like, you could tell this is Pixar doing it, because the way they're pulling this off visually, it just seems so cool. Especially where he accidentally sucks in the wrong guy. Like, he tries to get Joe, and then he gets this other guy who's kind of like the bully. It was so fucking funny. He has like this whole like life altering moment, like, oh shit. I thought it was so damn funny, and that was actually Daveed Diggs.
Which one?
I looked up who it was. He's from Hamilton. He's Jefferson.
Yeah, but which Hamilton. One? Who was Daveed Diggs?
The bully one, the one that gets sucked in by accident by this guy. Yeah, it was him. The one that was like the douche one.
Yeah, that's so funny. I didn't know that was him. It didn't sound like him.
And the barber was Ashy Larry.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Because I was like, man, the voice sounds familiar. Let me look up who it is.
I did not catch that one.
And it says Donnell Rawlings. And I'm like, Donnell Rawlings? Why have I seen that name before? And it was at the credits of every fucking Chappelle Show episode. I'm like, oh, there he is. Fucking Ashy Larry.
I didn't know that at all, dude. Wow, that's a good one. Yeah, I think that's what I found so fascinating about the voice cast, is that I didn't know who any of them were. Like voice wise, I couldn't recognize them. Of course, Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's Jamie Foxx. But I'm saying, like, everybody else, I couldn't figure who they were.
Except for this dude from IT Crowd, I caught that one a mile away. That one too. So besides those two, I do agree with you. I couldn't clock anyone.
Which is good, because that's what you need to feel when you're watching an animation movie.
Yeah,
you don't want to
zoned out.
Feel or know who that voice is. You want to get lost within the animation. And I think we had this conversation, Pedro, of just like, I hate how animation studios keep hiring the name.
Oh yeah.
Instead of just hiring the voice, you know?
Yeah, one of the biggest, a little bit of a tangent, I guess. One of the biggest movies that did that shit, and I was just like, no fucking point, was Kung Fu Panda. Remember they had like Lucy Liu, Jackie Chan, like all these names, and I'm like, they had one or two lines of dialogue, and you wasted so much money to get them for what? So they could be on your fucking poster? Yeah. I was like, that's so stupid. But anyways, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think
agree with you.
I mean, they do. There are animated movies that come out with like nobodies, you know, that really don't do that well though.
Pixar wise, Ratatouille knocked it out the park, and that didn't really have anyone.
Well, it had Patton Oswalt though.
Yeah, but who the fuck was Patton Oswalt?
Yeah, you know, he's not really.
If I go down the street and say, "Hey, you guys know who Patton Oswalt is?" They're gonna be, who the fuck?
Yeah, so I agree. I wonder, like, bigger studios should take that risk to see what happens.
Yeah. Pixar can afford that because they're Pixar. Marvel can afford to do that because they're Marvel. Like Guardians, for example, you pulled out Guardians of the Galaxy and you're like, who? You know? You didn't really get your people. So
right. Yeah,
Big
it's
studios
like
can
weird.
do that. You're right.
I mean, Disney does the same thing where like Vin Diesel's Groot. Like, why?
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
But it's just like, but why? Like, I mean, I understand you are Disney. You have so much money. You can pay the guy to say I am Groot. You know, but why?
Yeah, that was a weird one. I felt like they got that voice because they were watching Iron Giant and they were like, fun fact, Vin Diesel voiced Iron Giant for like his first movie gig ever. And they were like, oh man, what if he does one again that's also useless? And then they thought of Groot. And, you know, I feel like that was just them like fucking smoking and they thought of it. And they're like, we're Disney, we can get it. You know?
You could have gotten any deep voice person just to say, "Oh yeah, I'm Groot."
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it was something to do with Iron Giant. Pretty sure. But anyway, I know you're saying that it's very gimmicky to have big voice actors, and clearly Soul didn't really do it. Like, yeah, they're putting Jamie Foxx, but that's it. You know, Tina Fey, sure, but I didn't even notice that one.
I didn't recognize her at all.
But for me, the movie did the talking. Pixar can afford to do that, and they do.
And I think and that's what makes Pixar so great is that they let the story, the movie, talk and unravel to make you feel something for it. They don't try to get you with gimmicky shit to make you want to watch their movie. You know.
By the way, did you guys catch the Pizza Planet truck?
Yeah, it's in the Hall of Heroes.
Yeah,
as is,
the everything.
A321 or A123, whatever it is there too.
Oh, the classroom. I guess that
also
makes sense too.
if you notice, there's also the spaceship from Wall-E.
Ooh, I wonder where that was.
Yeah, it's at the end. Like, so there's a so if you look for the videos of Easter eggs, when they're walking into the Hall of Heroes, and at the back you see the Axiom. So that's what I'm saying. Like, everything, space and time is there. Everything in time is there.
Yeah, but Pixar doesn't really put their Easter eggs for any continuity. They just do it just to do it.
No, I'm not talking about the continuity. I'm just talking about that movie itself. That, like she said, time is not relevant there. So that's why you see everything from a whole bunch of time periods in that area.
That makes sense.
You know, which is pretty cool. One of my favorite jokes of the movie was when she introduces him to when they're in the zone. And,
oh yeah.
And she was talking him, these are the people who are in the zone, and I like fucking with them, especially these guys. And they showed the Knicks.
Yeah, that was such a
Dude,
good one.
I laughed out so hard because the Knicks are perennial losers.
Yeah.
So it was the best joke ever, man.
Oh, I love messing with these guys every year. Boom. Oh, it makes them. They miss the shot.
It's so good, dude. They suck so bad.
But now that you brought that up, that was a whole other section of the movie that I actually really enjoyed. I thought it was pretty damn funny too.
Yeah.
That they had the sign spinning hippie also in a type of zone. So that brought in a whole other concept of like daydreaming / when you're like concentrating. It was just this cool little mix of just like, yeah. Again, it played a little bit with what Inside Out did, just a bit, but this movie made it its own just enough. So
yeah.
But
you guys
just that
enjoy
whole cast of characters.
You guys enjoyed the sign flipping hippie?
Yeah, I thought he was a great character. There's always that character needed that explains everything. You know, he's the scientist in like the horror movies that like just straight up tells you the mumbo jumbo like really clearly.
He pretty much anchors the movie down to like, oh, okay, now I understand the concepts, and yeah.
And even if the concept's too crazy, he'll kind of say like, don't think about it too hard. It just is, and you're like, all right, cool, fuck it.
I like the one when they break free the stockbroker who was too busy doing the stocks.
the number crunching.
So essentially, what it is that they get stuck in the zone. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it could be.
What happens?
Yeah, because it's a good thing and a bad thing to get stuck in your. That's the best way to say it. The way they said it, in the zone. You know, your moment of concentration. Where you're either dazed out or you're just like into it. You're drift off, daydream, or just zone out. There's a good thing for it, like if you're in the middle of your solo and you're playing, you're in the zone, you're doing good, or sign spinning. But if you're stuck at your job, staring at your computer screen, crunching your numbers, you're in the zone and you're just stuck there, and then you're just like a brain dead zombie. I would assume maybe the same thing when you're watching TV and just like you're probably in there too. So it was another cool concept they introduced and showed the good and bad of it. Like too much of it is bad. So cool stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of we've already reviewed the movie in terms of like an overall enjoyment of it. But in terms of message, how important it is this movie compared to other Pixar movies? Like, how would you rank it in terms of messaging?
That's a tough one. I do think it's a very important message. The thing is that we all agreed on, it's a message that you need later in your life rather than early in your life. This is a message. This message is just reminding you, hey, life is good. Don't forget that. But even if you're not where you want. Yeah. I was thinking of doing that, but I'm like, nah, I'm not going to fucking bring in the other one.
Got you.
Life is good, but it can be better. but yeah, it's just that overall message. Movie. So, yes, I think it's needed, but I mean, in terms of ranking, it's kind of hard to rank it.
Yeah.
It's just hard
I can't rank those messages. Because, I mean, when you think about WALL-E, the message was love, right? Or life or something like that. Whatever.
And also don't get fat. That was another big one.
Yeah, consumption. Like we destroyed the earth.
Yeah, it was
we
gluttony.
Consumed everything.
It was gluttony.
Gluttony, yeah.
And then Inside Out was, I don't even know what the message of Inside Out was.
Oh, Inside Out was that sadness and happiness are needed for your life. But both of them, they're essentially one and the same.
All of your emotions are essentially.
Yeah. But that was the big thing, because in the movie they're like, oh, sadness is bad. Sadness is bad. And in the movie it's like, sadness isn't bad. Like, tears aren't bad. You can cry from happiness.
You ruined the movie for Orlando.
Oh, well,
yeah.
There you go.
I get it.
I can't believe you haven't seen that movie, dude. I think that would have been one of your favorite Pixar movies, of just how the themes of that, of how it is.
Yeah, there's what. So
that shit came out in 2015, Orlando. It's been 6 years.
Oh my God, Orlando.
What about I mean, obviously the Toy Stories is like letting go, moving on,
growing up,
finding your friend. That's the first one. Like friendship. I
mean, Bug's life is pretty self-explanatory. It's Seven Samurai. It's like, if everyone works together, it's better than doing things alone.
Okay.
Yeah, Cars is not being selfish.
Okay.
Cars
Monsters
3 is essentially
Inc.
letting go.
Monsters Inc.
What is?
I know it's literally laughter's the best medicine over fear, but I don't remember.
I don't think there was a message necessarily in Monsters Inc.
I mean, I guess that would be it. That like
it was don't be scared of the unknown, because that's what it was. That was the irony of it, is that kids are scared of the monster in the closet, and then the reality was that the monsters in the closet are scared of the kids. But then you realize they can coexist in happiness. So there you go. Don't be scared of the unknown.
Nice, Pedro.
Okay.
Love it, Pedro.
Yeah, dude. All of these that we've named, they're all essential. So it's very hard to rank what is essential.
It's a hard rank.
But I will agree, Soul is the later in life message, while these are pretty good ones to get early on. The other ones we mentioned.
Yeah. All right. So a twist on Orlando's. What do you got? Where would you put this latest Pixar in your order?
That's a tough one. There's a lot of them.
All right, let's go by the latest. The last Pixar movie that came out, which was I forgot.
Toy Story 4, no?
Toy Story 4 was the last Pixar? Let's see.
You guys can look it up.
Pixar movies. All right. We had Coke. Oh, Onward. Is it better than
Oh
Onward?
wow, Onward. I thought that was just Disney.
Nah, it was
It's
Pixar.
better than Onward. It's better than Onward.
It's better than Onward.
I don't think it's better than Onward. I really enjoyed Onward.
I didn't like Onward that much.
Like I know I feel like I could see on. I've seen Onward a bunch of times and I didn't get bored, but I don't think I can see this movie multiple times
So
Nah, it's better
Onward,
than-
and be entertained.
Onward and this movie are on the middle-ish part of the scale, like I said, where they're not bad movies, but they're not anywhere near the heavy hitters. That being said, Soul is better than Onward, if I had to choose.
I agree with Pedro.
All right. Is it better than Toy Story 4?
No.
No.
Fuck no. Toy Story 4 is a fucking masterpiece, like all the others.
Incredibles 2.
No.
No.
Incredibles 2 is great.
All right. Coco.
No. It's not better than Coco.
No. Coco's so good. Coco is so fucking good.
Coco is good. I don't think you guys saw Cars 3 though.
I did see Cars 3. Where would you put it?
I
Because you
think it's
actually
better
really
than-
enjoyed Cars 3, you think?
Yeah, I think it's better than Cars 3.
Oh.
But the thing is
that's
that
pretty.
I the way I think about it is rewatchability, right? Like I don't think Soul is a movie I could consistently rewatch over and over again. I could see Cars being a movie. I mean, I have seen it multiple times because of my kid. So I could see myself seeing Cars 3 more than I can see myself seeing Soul.
Wait, but you said Soul was better than Cars 3, so you mean
Yeah,
backwards.
of course, in terms of quality of the movie.
Oh.
But when it comes to rewatchability, I don't think Soul is a movie I could rewatch over and over again.
I could.
All right, so let's end it in this last one. Finding Dory. Is it better than Finding Dory?
Yo, I can't even remember Finding Dory.
I don't think it's better than Finding Dory. I really enjoyed Finding Dory.
I would put Finding Dory around the middle-ish. That being said, is it better than Finding Dory? I think it's better than Finding Dory.
I can't remember, so I'm not gonna say.
But Finding Dory is better than Onward.
Really?
Yes.
Hey, you
So-
didn't like
so-
Onward, Pedro?
You know what we?
No,
you
no,
know what we
I
should do?
I did. We should create our own thing.
We should make a bracket, guys. Next podcast episode or in 2 weeks, we watch all the Pixar movies, make a bracket, and do our official.
Well, I've seen all of them. You guys are the ones that haven't seen them.
Right. I mean,
And
right
they're on
now,
Disney Plus, so
I
think-
wouldn't
No
mind
excuses.
rewatching them and putting them, like, for example, chronologically, you watch Toy Story, so you go, okay, Toy Story, first one on your list. Then you go, all right, Bug's Life, cool. Where do I put Bug's Life on the list? All right, under Toy Story. All right, cool. What's next? Toy Story 2. All right, where do I put it? And then you add from there. I could see myself doing that.
right, we could do that. We can
All
do
right.
it.
I mean, I think
Uh,
right now, honestly, thinking just you mentioned Coco. I think Coco is like shit, dude. Semifinals easily.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know about that either.
Coco is so good, dude.
Semifinals? Ooh, nah. It is so good. Again, that's the thing, dude. Pixar, there's so many fucking good movies that once you
And
get
the
to
thing
the
is-
final 5, I would say, it becomes to like choosing your favorite child level of shit, you know? So
I mean, honestly, in my opinion, you gotta put some of the Toy Stories against the Toy Story, so that way it's not like
100%.
We'll do what
100%.
Pedro says. That we'll go in order from the moment they came out, and we'll be like, oh, is this one better than this one? Is this one better
Yeah.
than this one? You know?
And that's how you create your bracket. Yeah.
Yeah.
List, I
Not
mean,
necessarily
not
a bracket, it's just a list. Because
Yeah,
a bracket
list.
necessarily puts is the randomizing them and then putting
Right,
the
right.
randoms in order.
yeah. But for a bracket though, we have like first seed and 5 seed. We should
Yeah.
do that where we have stronger. You have a stronger like okay, the first one goes to get another a top first one. That way, it's not that way. Toy Story is not like cause we know Toy Story is gonna be.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
But
Or-
that's
or-
why
or-
I
Orlando.
agree with Pedro's state, though.
Yeah, I think my list is a better idea because with Orlando's list, what if... So, Orlando, what are your 2 best Pixar movies? Whatever. Shoot the shit.
Coco,
Coco, and Toy Story, right?
Monsters Inc.
Okay. So what if in the first bracket you get Coco and Monsters Inc. against each other? Then you're gonna be like, oh no, you know. That's why the brackets
Right.
suck.
And then one falls off, you know, and then that's it.
And then you're like, oh, Monsters Inc. fell in the first round. No, that doesn't mean anything. It's just because it went up against Coco or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why brackets to me are deadly, because it's like, ooh, that doesn't really explain.
But that's
Yeah.
but that's why they're fun though, because they're so
Sure.
deadly.
Yeah.
That's what makes
But-
them so fun.
I think Pedro's
we can
talking
still do a
about
bracket.
doing a actual like list. Let's like list our top Pixar movies.
Yeah.
And
to
Orlando's trying to
bottom.
gamify it.
Yes, you are trying to gamify, which is fun. We could still do that. We could do both. Fuck it.
But haven't we done that already?
We did something
We-
where it was Disney and
Disney
Pixar.
and Pixar.
And it came down to like Coco and Toy Story against Lion King and like Aladdin or something, you know?
Yeah.
Lion King won. We all know Lion King.
We all gave it to Lion King, I think, yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun one. That was a fun episode.
Yeah.
You can't fuck with
So-
animated Shakespeare, man.
We gotta do a ranking then of Pixar movies.
Yeah.
But we have a movie to look forward to in June. The latest Pixar is called Luca, which is I think is the one that is the red monster, right? I think it is.
No, Luca has to do with their sea creatures, and when they're on land, they turn into humans. So it's them living on land.
Okay. Oh, Turning Red is the one I was talking about. That comes
Turning
out
Red
next
is the red panda, and that's a Disney, not a Pixar. That's a Disney
year.
animated.
It says here is Pixar.
Oh, then JK. I thought it was a Disney Animated Studios. They're technically under the same umbrella, but I was under that assumption.
Yeah. But yeah. All right, gentlemen.
All right.
So, any last words on Soul?
No. If you haven't seen it and you listened this far, check it out.
Nice. How about you, Orlando?
Definitely go check it out, or let us know what you think in our social medias.
Cool. All right. I hope everyone enjoyed this review of Pixar's Soul, currently on Disney Plus, free with your subscription. Let us know what you think, thought, and liked this movie. Let us know your thoughts. Till next time.
Bye-bye.